Hi, everybody. I'm Pierre Bouvard, Chief Insights Officer here at the Audio Active Group at Cumulus Media and Westwood One. And are you looking to associate your brand with a major cultural event this March? Well, if you are, look no further than March Madness, carried exclusively across the Westwood One radio network and over 500 radio stations across the country. We've conducted a series of brand new studies that quantifies the spending power and the incredible reach of the Westwood One March Madness platform for both men's and women's NCAA basketball. Now, overall, there are 5 key reasons why March Madness can play such a critical component in your March media plan. The men's and women's NCAA platform generates an incredible audio audience that is engaged and passionate. And these are desirable, younger, on-the-go consumers who consider their car radio to be the best available screen when they're out and about and on the go. Your investment in Westwood One's audio March Madness platform can generate incremental reach to your video investment along with frequency amplifications. And Westwood One offers your brand incredible in-game activations and in-game creative that really matter for your brand. So we conducted a number of major new studies. Let's take a look at the 5 key findings from these just released studies. First, from Nielsen, a reach accumulation study of a recent season of Westwood One NCAA March Madness reveals a stunning reach of 20 million consumers across the season. A just conducted study from market researcher Quantilope revealed that the March Madness audience are far more engaged and far more passionate, which means your marketing investment generates greater ad effectiveness and impact. Fresh data from MRI Simmons reveals that the March Madness audience on Westwood One versus the TV audience is much younger, more likely to be employed, coming from bigger households with kids. The other key finding is that those that are in the market for major consumer purchases are much more likely to be reached on Westwood One's audio broadcast of March Madness. From an overall reach perspective, 1/3 of the women's NCAA audience and 1/3 of the men's NCAA basketball audience can be reached through the Westwood One platform. And when you look at 1834 audiences to the women's tournament and the men's tournament, that reach goes up to about 40% of the entire March Madness audience. So the major Nielsen study that was conducted used their portable people meter to examine reach accumulation throughout the season, and they discovered an eye-popping unique audience of 20 million consumers across the season that builds and builds, and of course, really explodes once you get past the conference championships and you get into the tournament itself. So we turn to Quantilope to understand the day in the life of an NCAA fan. They surveyed 750 consumers who are fans of the overall tournament. And their major finding is that the audio audience is simply more passionate about sports and the tournament in general, both men's and women's, and much more engaged in the outcome. And that means your marketing investment generates greater impact, and especially because the audio audience has greater purchasing power and are more likely to be in the market across key purchase categories. So let's first look at the men's tournament. And Quantilope examined 5 measures of March Madness passion. Have you attended a university or college that participates in March Madness? How would you rate your fandom on a 1 to 10 scale, where 10 represents super fan and 1 says you don't even follow it at all? And what proportion are in that 8 or greater super fan range. How many games on average across the tournament do you follow? What proportion follow the tournament right through its conclusion with the championship? And how many of the consumers, when they're at home, mute the television to play the radio broadcast? So that question was posed to folks that are fans of the women's tournament and the men's tournament. The first column here represents the overall men's tournament audience. The second represents the Westwood One audio audience. As you can see, across every one of these 5 measures of passion and engagement, it is the audio audience that is just simply more engaged. And we see the exact same thing for the women's tournament. Quantilope asked the same 5 measures for those that follow the NCAA women's basketball tournament, and they compared the overall women's tournament audience to the Westwood One audio audience. And again, you find it is the Westwood One audio broadcast that's bringing you a much more passionate and engaged audience. Imagine your commercial in that environment was so much consumer attentiveness. Now, MRI Simmons examined the TV audience profile of March Madness and the radio audience profile. And as they have found over the last decade, this from their latest 2025 data, the audio platform is younger and more likely to be employed. They're more likely to have children and therefore bigger households and a higher median income. Now, MRI Simmons went even deeper, comparing the TV and the radio audience across a very broad array of sports engagement and passion points. And as you can see, regardless of the factor, whether it's fantasy sports or using a sports app or actually attending any sports event, side by side, it is the audio NCAA Westwood One audience that is just much more engaged and passionate versus the more casual, less engaged TV viewer. Now, there is no element or factor that says engagement more than sports betting. And so it's not surprising to see the Westwood One NCAA audio audience is 50% more likely to be sports better versus the more passive, less engaged TV audience. And then when it comes to how much they actually spent betting on the tournament, the Westwood One audience is number 1 in the actual amount of money spent betting on March Madness versus social media, digital video, linear TV platform, internet sites. So huge passion, huge engagement across the board. And this translates into an audience that is simply more likely to be in the market across major consumer categories. MRI Simmons reporting that the audio platform much more likely than the TV audience to be in market for a new vehicle or to lease a new vehicle or make a major consumer electronics purchase or buy significant high ticket home furnishings. So we've got this 20 million audience, highly engaged. Let's dip a little deeper into that reach. We find that 1 out of 3 of total tournament fans are following the tournament, the men's tournament on Westwood One. We see the same thing for the women's tournament. 1 out of 3 women's fans for the NCAA basketball tournament following all of the excitement on Westwood One. Now, when you go to the younger demos, the proportion that are using Westwood One goes up 40% among 1834 following the men's tournament, and also just about 40% for those that are following the women's tournament. So if you're looking for those younger demos who are more on the go, look no further than the Westwood One broadcast that can really give you that younger demographic. And why is that? Well, when you're looking at reach outside the home, this is really where audio shines, whether folks are at work or whether they're in car or some other place. You can see the dark blue representing Westwood One's NCAA audio audience is far more likely to be generating reach than the NCAA video audience. And this is the same for whether it's the men's or the women's March Madness tournament. Now, even if you have a video investment, Quantilope reveals that adding Westwood One NCAA into your media plan generates incremental reach and amplified frequency, both for the men's tournament and for the women's tournament. So overall, March Madness on Westwood One is a major reach play with 20 million on-the-go consumers who are upscale and ready to spend. This is a very engaged and passionate audience. They are out and about, and your audio investment generates incremental reach and amplified frequency to your video investment. And Westwood One offers stunning and very entertaining creative integrations live right in the game that really matter. The Audio Active Group here at Cumulus Media and Westwood One is a full-service brand advisory for national marketers for all things audio. We generate weekly insights from custom studies that we conduct, and we are also a measurement partner for our clients, offering high-quality third-party brand lift, sales effects, search and site attribution, as well as creative pre-testing. Each and every week, we publish a new audio insight. You can find it on our blog at cumulusmedia.com or westwood1.com. And when you're there, you can sign up to get the weekly audio case study and audio insight sent directly to your email box. Thanks so much for the opportunity to take you through the 2026 NCAA Men's and Women Listening Study. Thanks so much.